We often underestimate the power of a single day. We think transformation requires months or years of effort. But the truth is, it begins in the smallest of actions we choose today. A single day can set the tone for a week. A week can define the month, and a month can shape your year. Transformation doesn't happen in leaps, it happens in habits. And if you want to transform your entire life, you must first learn how to transform your day. So, what does it take? Not a complete overhaul, not a dozen new strategies, not overwhelming changes. Instead, it's about a few simple habits, 5 to be exact, that when practiced consistently can shift your energy, your mindset, and your results. The first habit is starting with gratitude. The moment you wake up, your mind naturally begins scanning for problems, deadlines, tasks, worries. But what if instead you direct your attention to the things you already have? Gratitude shifts the brain from scarcity to abundance. It reminds you that you are already standing on a foundation of strength. Beginning the day this way doesn't just lift your mood. It primes your mind to see opportunities rather than obstacles. The second habit is moving your body. Not to lose weight, not to meet an external standard, but to signal to yourself that you are alive and capable. A brisk walk, a short workout, even a stretch routine, it wakes your body, increases blood flow, and sharpens your focus. It's less about fitness and more about creating the energy you need to handle the day with clarity. The third habit is intentional planning. Too many of us let the day control us instead of us controlling the day. We dive into emails, messages, and distractions, and soon the day feels hijacked. But if you take just 10 minutes in the morning to decide your top priorities, to write them down, and to focus your energy, you create alignment. A day with direction is always more powerful than a day left to chance. The fourth habit is taking mindful pauses. We live in a culture of constant motion, always on, always connected. But transformation requires stillness too. Pausing for just a few deep breaths between tasks or taking a short break without screens resets the nervous system. It helps you make better decisions and it prevents you from running on autopilot. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters with a clear mind. And the fifth habit is ending with reflection. How you close the day matters as much as how you start it. Before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I learn today? What am I proud of? What will I do differently tomorrow? Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without it, we repeat the same mistakes. With it, we grow a little every day. These habits are not grand gestures. They don't demand hours of your time, but together they create a rhythm, a structure that transforms not only your day, but also the way you live. Imagine if every day started with gratitude, flowed with energy, moved with intention, was grounded in pauses, and ended with reflection. The ripple effect would be undeniable. Transformation doesn't begin tomorrow, next week, or next year. It begins today with the habits you choose right now. 5 keynotes of the speech: start your day with gratitude to shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Move your body daily to generate energy and clarity. Plan your priorities intentionally to take control of your day. Incorporate mindful pauses to reset and make better decisions, and your day with reflection to turn daily experience into lasting growth. Starting your day with gratitude may sound simple, even ordinary, but it holds the power to completely shift how you move through the hours that follow. The moment we open our eyes in the morning, our minds tend to race ahead of us. We begin listing tasks, remembering problems, feeling the weight of obligations, and bracing for challenges before our feet even touch the ground. This mental pattern is not unusual. It's the brain's way of preparing us for survival. But if survival is the only lens through which we start our day, we end up spending our hours reacting instead of creating, worrying instead of appreciating, and bracing instead of living. Gratitude is what interrupts this cycle. It redirects the mind from what is missing to what is already present. It takes us out of scarcity and brings us into abundance. And when abundance becomes the lens through which you see your day, everything changes. Gratitude is not about ignoring problems or pretending life is perfect. It is about acknowledging that despite the difficulties, there is still something worth holding on to, something worth noticing. When you wake up and consciously think of 3 things you are grateful for, you are essentially choosing your focus. Perhaps it's the comfort of your bed, the health of your loved ones, or the opportunity to try again today. These are not dramatic things, but they are real, and they remind you that you already have reasons to feel grounded and steady. By practicing gratitude first thing in the morning, you create an anchor. No matter what the day brings, that anchor keeps you from drifting too far into negativity. The beauty of this habit lies in its ability to train the brain. Neuroscience shows that when you repeatedly practice gratitude, your brain rewires itself to look for the positive more naturally. Instead of automatically scanning for danger, it learns to scan for value. Imagine beginning every day by telling your brain, we are safe, we are provided for, and we are capable. That is not just a comforting thought, it is a mindset that fuels resilience. Problems will come, but a grateful mind meets them with calm instead of panic, with possibility instead of defeat. Another powerful aspect of starting your day with gratitude is the emotional shift it creates. Gratitude is often described as the shortest path to joy, and there is truth in that. Joy doesn't have to come from monumental events. It can come from realizing the sun is shining, from appreciating that you have work to do, from knowing that someone believes in you. When joy enters the equation, your energy changes. You engage with people differently. You respond to challenges with a lighter heart. And because emotions are contagious, your gratitude doesn't just impact you, it spreads to those around you. Starting your day this way doesn't just transform your mindset, it transforms your relationships, your environment, and even the culture you create in your workplace or home. Some people struggle with gratitude because they equate it with complacency. They think that being grateful for what they have means they'll lose the hunger to strive for more. But gratitude does not weaken ambition, it strengthens it. When you appreciate what is in front of you, you are not settling, you are fueling. Gratitude provides the energy to keep pushing forward because it roots you in a place of contentment rather than desperation. There is a profound difference between striving because you feel incomplete and striving because you feel blessed with the chance to grow. The latter builds sustainability. It gives you the stamina to keep pursuing long-term goals without burning out or feeling constantly unsatisfied. To put this habit into practice, it doesn't need to be complicated. You can keep a journal by your bed and write down 3 things each morning. You can say them aloud to yourself while brushing your teeth. You can share them with a partner or friend. The method is not as important as the intention. What matters is that you begin your day with a conscious decision to focus on gratitude. Over time, it becomes second nature, a lens you automatically wear as you step into your day. There is also a subtle discipline built into this practice. Gratitude requires you to pause and notice what you might otherwise overlook. And in a world that constantly tells us to rush, to want more, to compare ourselves to others, pausing to be grateful is an act of resistance. It's a way of saying, I choose to value what I have instead of being consumed by what I lack. That simple act of choosing where your attention goes is the foundation of transformation. Because how you spend your attention is how you spend your life. Imagine 2 people waking up tomorrow. One starts the day scrolling through social media, comparing their life to someone else's highlight reel, already feeling behind. The other spends a few minutes thinking about what they're grateful for, their family, their health, the opportunity of a new day. Both people will face challenges, frustrations, and unexpected obstacles. But their responses will be very different. One will carry tension and dissatisfaction from the very beginning. The other will carry calm, perspective, and resilience. The difference between the two lies not in what happens to them, but in the habit they chose when the day began. When you start your day with gratitude, you are not only transforming your mornings, you are transforming your life, one day at a time. Moving your body each day is one of the simplest yet most transformative habits you can build into your routine. It is not about fitting into a certain size or chasing an image projected by society. It is about giving your body the respect and care it deserves so that your mind and energy can function at their best. The human body is designed for movement. From the way our joints are structured to the way our muscles are formed, our bodies were never intended to remain still for long stretches of time. Yet modern life often demands that we sit at desks, stare at screens, and remain in static positions for hours. This unnatural stillness gradually drains our energy, dulls our focus, and impacts our mood. Choosing to move your body, even in small ways, interrupts the cycle and reignites the system that is designed to keep you alert, resilient, and alive. The beauty of this habit lies in its accessibility. Moving your body doesn't require hours at the gym or an intense training program. It could be as simple as taking a brisk walk in the morning, stretching for 10 minutes after waking, or doing a short routine at home. The goal is not perfection or performance, but activation. When you move, blood flow increases, oxygen travels to the brain, and your body releases chemicals that naturally elevate your mood. This isn't just theory, it's biology. Physical movement directly influences the brain's chemistry, boosting serotonin and dopamine, the very chemicals that help you feel more motivated and more capable of handling the day's challenges. Beyond the biological effects, there is a psychological signal that comes with moving your body in the morning. It's a declaration to yourself that you are capable, strong, and willing to show up for your own well-being. That small act of self-respect creates a ripple effect in how you carry yourself through the day. You approach tasks with greater confidence, conversations with more presence, and decisions with sharper focus. Energy is contagious, and the energy you create through movement becomes the energy you bring to everything else. Another overlooked aspect of daily movement is its role in mental clarity. Many of us begin our day clouded with stress, to-do lists, and distractions. Physical movement has the unique ability to cut through that noise. Think about how often you feel clearer after a walk or how ideas suddenly come to you during exercise. This is because movement allows the mind to reset. The body and brain are deeply connected, and when the body is active, the brain follows with sharper awareness and improved creativity. A short workout can often solve a problem that hours of overthinking could not. It is also worth considering the discipline movement cultivates. By choosing to move your body daily, you are practicing consistency. You are showing yourself that you can keep a promise, that you are capable of following through even when motivation is low. Discipline built in one area of life naturally spills into others. If you can commit to a short walk when you feel tired, you can also commit to focusing on a task at work when distractions call. Movement becomes not just a physical habit, but a training ground for resilience. Some people hesitate because they believe they don't have enough time. But movement doesn't demand hours, it demands intention. 5 minutes of stretching, 10 minutes of walking, or a few rounds of deep breathing combined with light exercise are enough to shift your energy. It is not the duration that matters most, but the choice to honor your body. In fact, the more consistent you are with small movements, the easier it becomes to build longer, more intense sessions when your schedule allows. Transformation starts with what you can do, not with what you think you should do. There is also an emotional element to movement. When you move your body, you release tension you may not even realize you're carrying. Stress, anxiety, and frustration often accumulate in the body, showing up as tight shoulders, a stiff neck, or restlessness. Moving helps release that weight. It allows you to physically let go of what your mind is holding onto. This release makes it easier to approach the day with a sense of lightness rather than heaviness. Imagine two versions of yourself tomorrow morning. In one, you wake up, reach for your phone, and dive into messages and updates. You carry that sluggishness into your work, your interactions, and your thoughts. In the other version, you wake up, take 10 minutes to stretch or walk outside, breathe deeply, and allow your body to awaken. You may still have the same responsibilities, but your approach will be completely different. One version reacts to the day with fatigue, while the other responds with energy. The circumstances may be the same, but your experience of them is entirely transformed. When you choose to move your body daily, you are not just exercising, you are investing in clarity, energy, and resilience. You are choosing to show up for yourself in a way that elevates everything else you do. It is not about chasing an ideal, it is about creating the strength and energy to live your day fully. Intentional planning is one of the most powerful habits you can adopt if you want to take control of your day instead of being swept away by it. Most people wake up and immediately step into reaction mode. They check their phones, read emails, respond to messages, and by the time the morning has barely begun, the tone of the day has already been dictated by other people's priorities. Without realizing it, the day becomes a series of responses to external demands rather than a deliberate creation of what truly matters. Intentional planning breaks this cycle. It gives you the ability to decide where your time, attention, and energy will go before the world decides for you. The strength of intentional planning lies not in creating a perfect schedule, but in giving your day a sense of direction. A day without direction is like sailing without a compass. You might move, but you rarely arrive where you want to go. Taking a few minutes in the morning to pause and map out what matters most creates clarity. That clarity keeps you from scattering your attention across dozens of tasks that may feel urgent but are not truly important. Instead, you begin to align your actions with your priorities, and alignment is what turns a busy day into a meaningful one. Intentional planning is also a safeguard against overwhelm. So many people end their days feeling exhausted but also unsatisfied, unsure of what they really accomplished. That happens because without a clear plan, energy gets spent on tasks that feel pressing in the moment but don't move you closer to your larger goals. When you write down your top 3 priorities for the day, you create a filter. That filter helps you say no to distractions, delegate what doesn't need your attention, and focus deeply on what will actually make a difference. The sense of progress you feel when you complete meaningful tasks is far more energizing than the temporary relief of checking off dozens of small but insignificant ones. Another benefit of planning is the confidence it creates. When you start the day knowing exactly what you want to accomplish, you carry yourself differently. You don't waste mental energy deciding what to do next or second, guessing your choices. This decisiveness gives you momentum. And momentum is powerful. Once you gain it, you are more likely to keep moving forward even when challenges appear. On the other hand, without a plan, every interruption feels like a crisis, and it becomes easy to drift aimlessly through the hours. Intentional planning does not have to be complex. It can be as simple as writing down your top priorities in a notebook, using a digital planner, or taking a few quiet minutes to mentally map your day. The key is to be deliberate. Ask yourself, what are the 3 things I must accomplish today that will make this day meaningful? If you get those 3 things done, you will feel progress, and that sense of progress is what builds long-term growth. Planning in this way ensures that you are not only productive, but also purposeful. It is also worth remembering that intentional planning is not about filling every minute with activity. In fact, it is the opposite. It is about creating space for what truly matters. Some of the most intentional plans include time for rest, reflection, or creativity. By choosing in advance how to use your time, you free yourself from the guilt of not doing enough or the stress of always feeling behind. You already know what matters, and you already know you are working toward it. That knowledge creates peace of mind, which is just as valuable as the productivity itself. There is an empowering discipline that grows when you practice this habit consistently. By planning your day, you remind yourself that you are in control of how you spend your time. You may not control every circumstance or every unexpected event, but you do control how you respond and what you choose to prioritize. This shift in mindset transforms you from being a passenger in your own life to being the driver. And that sense of agency builds confidence, resilience, and self-respect. Imagine 2 versions of yourself. In one, you wake up without a plan, dive into tasks as they appear, and end the day feeling like you worked endlessly but achieved very little. In the other, you take a few minutes to map your day, focus on what truly matters, and give your energy to the things that align with your goals. Even if unexpected challenges arise, you still know what matters most and can adjust accordingly. The difference between the 2 versions is not in how much you work, but in how intentionally you choose to direct your effort. Planning with intention transforms time from something you react to into something you create with. Each day becomes an opportunity to align your actions with your values, to make small but meaningful progress, and to live with a sense of direction rather than drift. Over time, this daily practice compounds into extraordinary results, not because you did everything, but because you did the right things. Taking mindful pauses throughout the day is one of the most underrated yet transformative practices you can adopt. In a world that constantly pushes us to do more, move faster, and stay endlessly connected, the idea of stopping even for a few moments may feel counterintuitive. Many people equate pausing with laziness or wasted time, when in reality, it is one of the most powerful tools for productivity, focus, and overall well-being. A pause is not the absence of progress. It is the fuel that allows progress to continue with clarity and purpose. Without pauses, our days turn into long, uninterrupted stretches of business that drain our energy and leave us running on autopilot. With pauses, we create space for renewal, awareness, and better decision-making. When you give yourself permission to pause, you interrupt the cycle of constant reactivity. Most people move from one task to the next without ever truly resetting. They carry the stress of the last email into the next meeting, the frustration of one conversation into another, and the mental clutter of unfinished tasks into every new responsibility. Over time, this creates exhaustion, irritability, and poor judgment. A mindful pause allows you to release what just happened and approach what comes next with a fresh mind. Even a few deep breaths between tasks can be enough to reset the nervous system and shift from tension to calm. That small reset improves the quality of your work and the quality of your interactions. Mindful pauses are also powerful because they bring you back to the present moment. Much of our stress comes from worrying about the future or replaying the past. Rarely we stress by the present moment itself. Pausing helps you notice where you are, what you are doing, and how you are feeling. This awareness creates choice. Instead of reacting automatically, you can respond intentionally. For example, taking a pause before responding to a difficult email gives you space to choose a thoughtful reply instead of sending one fueled by frustration. Taking a pause before entering a meeting allows you to shift from scattered thoughts to focused presence. These small shifts compound into stronger relationships, better outcomes, and a greater sense of control over your day. There is also a physiological benefit to pausing. The body's not designed to stay in a constant state of stress and stimulation. Without breaks, your stress hormones remain elevated, your attention span shortens, and your creativity diminishes. A pause signals to your body that it is safe to relax. Breathing deeply, stretching, or simply sitting in silence for a moment activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest and recovery. This activation lowers stress levels, stabilizes your emotions, and improves your ability to think clearly. By giving your body these moments of recovery, you avoid burnout and maintain the energy needed to sustain productivity throughout the day. Mindful pauses do not need to be long to be effective. It could be 1 minute of breathing before you start a task, 5 minutes of silence between meetings, or a short walk in the middle of the afternoon. What matters most is not the length, but the intention. You are choosing to stop, reset, and return with greater awareness. This intention transforms the pause from an empty break into a meaningful practice of renewal. Over time, these moments add up, creating a rhythm in your day that balances effort with recovery. Another dimension of pausing is the creativity it unlocks. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas often come in the shower, during a walk, or while resting? That's because the brain needs downtime to connect ideas and solve problems. When you pause, you give your subconscious space to work. Insights emerge when the mind is not overloaded with constant input. By incorporating pauses into your day, you not only protect your energy, but also invite inspiration and innovation. There is a deeper discipline in this practice as well. Pausing requires the courage to resist the pressure of always doing. It is a reminder that your worth is not measured by constant motion. In fact, some of the most impactful leaders and thinkers are those who know when to stop, reflect, and return stronger. By pausing, you are not stepping away from your responsibilities. You are stepping into them with greater clarity and strength. You become more intentional with your time and more present with the people around you. Imagine two versions of yourself on a busy day. In one version, you rush from task to task, eating lunch at your desk, never stopping to breathe, and collapsing at the end of the day exhausted and scattered. In the other version, you move through the same task but insert mindful pauses, 3 deep breaths before each meeting, a short walk at midday, a quiet moment of reflection before heading home. Both versions did the same work, but the outcomes feel entirely different. One leaves you drained and disconnected, while the other leaves you energized and grounded. The difference is not in how much you worked, but in how often you allowed yourself to pause. Taking mindful pauses throughout the day is not a luxury. It is a necessity if you want to sustain focus, energy, and clarity. It is the simple yet profound habit of creating space within the business. A habit that allows you to move through your day with intention rather than exhaustion. Ending your day with reflection is one of the most meaningful practices you can cultivate if you want to transform not only your evenings, but also the quality of your entire life. How you close your day matters as much as how you begin it. Many people finish their day by collapsing into bed, often with a screen in hand, scrolling until they fall asleep. The day ends in distraction, and the lessons, victories, and opportunities for growth are lost in the rush to simply shut down. Reflection is different. It is an intentional pause to look back at what happened, to understand it, and to carry forward what matters. It is the practice of turning experiences into wisdom. Without reflection, days blur together and progress feels accidental. With reflection, every day becomes a stepping stone toward growth. Reflection is powerful because it creates awareness. Most of us live our days on autopilot, repeating the same actions, reacting to the same triggers, and often making the same mistakes without noticing them. By setting aside time to reflect, you shine a light on those patterns. You begin to see not only what went well, but also where you stumbled, where you reacted instead of responded, and where you missed opportunities. This awareness is the first step toward change. You cannot improve what you are unwilling to notice. Reflection gives you the mirror you need to see yourself clearly, not with judgment, but with honesty. Another gift of reflection is perspective. During the rush of the day, even small setbacks can feel overwhelming. A conversation that didn't go well, a mistake at work, or a task left unfinished can dominate your emotions. But when you look back at the end of the day, you often realize that those moments are smaller than they felt in the moment. Reflection allows you to zoom out and see the bigger picture. You start to notice not only what went wrong, but also what went right. Perhaps you handled a situation with patience, or you showed kindness to someone, or you made progress on a goal. These moments might be forgotten without reflection, but when acknowledged, they reinforce a sense of progress and pride. Reflection also strengthens gratitude. By ending your day asking, "What am I thankful for today?" you train your mind to see the good even on difficult days. Some days may have obvious highlights, while others may require searching for smaller moments, a smile from a stranger, the comfort of a meal, or the resilience you showed in getting through a hard situation. These acknowledgments, no matter how small, shift your focus from what you lacked to what you gained. They ensure you end your day with a sense of fullness rather than emptiness. Beyond gratitude, reflection invites learning. Each day carries lessons, but without reflection, those lessons pass by unnoticed. Maybe you realized a certain approach to your work was ineffective. Maybe a conversation taught you something about patience or listening. Maybe you recognized that pushing yourself too hard led to mistakes. By identifying these lessons at the end of the day, you equip yourself to do better tomorrow. Reflection turns life into a continuous classroom where each day becomes a teacher, and every experience has value. There is also an emotional release that comes with reflection. Carrying the weight of unresolved thoughts and emotions into sleep often leaves you restless and unsettled. Reflection provides a space to process those emotions. By writing down your thoughts, talking them out, or simply sitting with them in silence, you allow your mind to let go. This release creates a sense of closure, which not only improves your sleep, but also frees you to wake up the next morning with a lighter, clearer mindset. The practice of ending with reflection does not need to be long or complicated. It can be as simple as answering 3 questions before bed. What went well today? What challenged me today? What will I do differently tomorrow? This brief but intentional process creates a rhythm of learning, gratitude, and growth. Over time, it becomes a natural part of your routine, something you look forward to because of the clarity and peace it brings. Imagine 2 versions of your evening. In one, you finish your day exhausted, distracted, and unaware of what you gained or lost. You fall asleep carrying the weight of unfinished business and unresolved emotions. In the other, you take 10 minutes to reflect. You acknowledge your wins, recognize your challenges, and set an intention for tomorrow. You go to bed with gratitude and clarity rather than stress and noise. The difference between these 2 versions is profound. One leaves you feeling stuck in an endless cycle, while the other builds momentum toward continuous growth. Ending your day with reflection ensures that no experience is wasted. Even the hardest days hold lessons, and even the smallest victories deserve recognition. By taking time to reflect, you transform ordinary days into meaningful stepping stones. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally, carrying wisdom forward one day at a time. Transformation doesn't come from grand gestures or once-in-a lifetime events. It comes from the simple choices you make each day. Gratitude in the morning reshapes your mindset. Moving your body awakens your energy. Intentional planning aligns your actions with your purpose. Mindful pauses restore clarity and balance. Reflection at night turns your experiences into wisdom. None of these habits require extraordinary effort, yet together they create extraordinary change. The way you live your days is the way you live your life. And when you choose to build these habits into your daily rhythm, you are choosing growth, resilience, and meaning. If you want to transform your future, start with today, because transformation always begins in the smallest steps you decide to take now.